My name is Patty McCoy. I was an ER nurse and certified sexual assault nurse examiner in Dallas, Texas. I started out in the ER, and in Dallas County, there was only one place that you could get an exam if you were raped, and that was at the county hospital, where you would sit for like 10 to 18 hours. So a bunch of the ER nurses and I got together and started a sexual assault nurse examiner program because we wanted to provide the services for the women and men of North Texas that really weren't being provided. All of these girls and all of these women have had a very special place in my heart because I feel like at any point in time, this could be anybody. This could happen to anyone. I had a patient whose roommate, they lived together. The roommate left to go to work in the morning. There was a guy who knew her roommate, who had been an acquaintance of her roommate and had seen their house and watched the house and waited until the roommate left. And while the patient was in the shower, he broke in. And assaulted her. He left and she was able to break free and call the police. That was terrifying because I've had multiple roommates. A lot of women I know have roommates, and you know, you look out for each other and you try, but it's just that one slip up where you don't lock the door. Every story had an impact on me. But a college student came in and she had gone with her friends to a club, like 9 o'clock at night. She didn't really like the way the club felt. It was safe and everything, but it just wasn't her vibe. So she did the safe thing and decided to walk back to her car at about 9 o'clock. She parked under a light. She walked in with friends, but she left alone. Someone ended up hiding in the bushes and attacking her at her car, pinning her against the car and assaulting her in a very, very brutal way. She screamed. She had seen people walking into the club as she was walking out, and no one really came to her defense. And then he was gone. She was left there by herself, hurt, beaten. Her purse was still there. Her keys were still in the door. She had the courage enough to just stop and call the cops. But she was brave enough to come in and get an exam when she felt very shameful and she felt very dirty when she came in. They met her in the ER, and that's how the story happened, and that's how I met her. One of my motivations for becoming a sexual assault nurse examiner was to be able to provide care for people who needed it, who couldn't get it. The chief motivating factor, and that particular patient had such an impact on me because I became a nurse in 2007, but in 2003 I had a very similar situation where I was with friends and was attacked in a parking lot, but yet I was able to get away. The impact it had on my life was huge. Another patient that had a pretty profound impact on me and my practice was a college student who was not from this country. She had a boyfriend that she had gotten a boyfriend over here, and they were going to college. He had rented a hotel room, and so She went to the hotel room with him because she trusted him, and there were other men there in that hotel room that he knew that she did not know, that she was held in that hotel room for a few hours, and they did unspeakable things to her. That is one of the most inhumane situations I've ever heard. I've ever witnessed, seen anything like that. But that was very, very profound for me because she just trusted the wrong person, you know? She put her trust in someone that mistreated her and used her. It's just one of the hardest exams I've ever done. After she left the hotel room, someone in an adjoining hotel room had heard what was happening, and so they called the police. And then they brought her to me. I think part of the reason that these three women really resounded with me, which all of my patients do, was the bravery that they exhibited. That with the crime of sexual assault, it is very hard to come forward and tell a complete stranger that this has happened to you. And a lot of that has to do with the way society views sexual assault victims or rape in general. Because the profound question is, well, what was she wearing? Was she drinking? What choices, where was she? Which none of that matters. Absolutely none of that matters. If you don't consent, you don't consent. And I feel like a lot of victims don't come get help and don't come get exams because those questions are asked, and because our culture seems to be really focused on victim shaming when it comes to sexual assault. If this does happen to you, whether you are male or female, there are some things you can do, and please know that there's always somewhere you can go. Please immediately call 911. Dallas County has made every hospital a sexual assault exam center. So there are certified sexual assault nurses at the Dallas County hospitals now. The program we started has now spawned an entire program in Dallas County. So ask for a sexual assault nurse. Ask for the evidence to be collected. If this happens to you, please know that you're not alone. Don't shower. Don't go to the restroom. Don't make evidence collection. Even if you do, we can collect the evidence though. Just know you're not alone.